So, what happens when a totally normal family road trip takes a wrong turn and drives straight into a nightmare? In this explainer, we're breaking down a seriously chilling story about a journey down a lonely highway where the fog isn't just fog. It's more like a curtain hiding something else from our world.
And this idea right here, it's the absolute core of the story we're getting into. It seems like some secrets are literally woven into the darkness itself. And today, we're going to try to pull back that curtain just a little bit.
I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It's at the very heart of this story. We think of fog as, harmless water vapor. But this tale asks you to think about a much more terrifying idea. What if it's not just blocking our vision, but it's actively hiding something from us?
All right, so like any good horror story, this one starts in a place that feels completely safe, completely normal. We begin in Delhi, with a family that, on the surface, looks like they have it all figured out.
So let's meet them. You've got Ravi, the dad. He's a marketing manager. Then there's Anjali, a freelance graphic designer who's really proud of her independence. And their entire world is their two kids, 8-year-old Pihu and little 5-year-old Chintu. They're basically the picture-perfect family, with absolutely no idea what's waiting for them just down the highway.
So winter break rolls around, and the kids are itching for an adventure. Ravi's swamped with work, so Anjali decides, hey, I'll take them myself. It's about a 100-kilometer drive to her parents' village. Now, Ravi's a little nervous about her driving the infamous Delhi-Jaipur highway by herself, but Anjali, she's confident. It's a simple plan, but it's the one that puts them on a direct collision course with something else.
Okay, so their vacation is great. It's full of fun, family time, all that good stuff. But as they're getting ready to leave, an innocent request from the kids just completely shifts the mood. They ask their grandma for a ghost story, and they have no idea that they're basically inviting a darkness that's going to follow them all the way home. So the grandmother starts her story. It's about this little boy who gets lost in a really thick fog while looking for his dad. He's exhausted, so he sits down under this huge peepal tree, only to look up and realize he's not alone. There's another kid, just sitting on a branch, watching him from the shadows. And this is where it gets really terrifying. The kid on the branch, it turns its head all the way around. That completely unnatural movement just shatters the peace, and poor little Chintu just starts screaming. The story might be over, but for this family, the horror is really just getting started.
The next day, it's time to drive back. As they're packing up the car, waving goodbye, they are completely oblivious. They think they're driving away from a scary story, but they're actually driving right into the middle of it.
I mean, it is just one thing after another. A bad storm in the morning means they can't leave until 1 p.m. A few hours later, bam! A flat tire eats up even more precious daylight. By the time they finally get back on the road, it's 5:30 p.m. The sun is gone, and a thick, heavy fog is rolling in, literally swallowing the road ahead.
And they are far from home. With night falling fast and the fog getting thicker by the second, they still have 45 kilometers to go. Anjali has to slow the car down to a crawl. Her knuckles are probably white on the steering wheel, just staring into this gray nothingness that erases the world right in front of her.
So now they're completely isolated in their car, totally surrounded by this oppressive fog, and they become a target. What happens next just completely defies logic, as that barrier between our world and, well, another one just starts to fall apart.
The haunting doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds in 4 distinct stages, and each one ramps up the fear. It starts with a really bizarre object, then a terrifying figure, then a violation of their personal space, and finally, a direct, horrifying message.
It begins with an old, beat-up bicycle just lying in the middle of the road, and it's missing its seat. Anjali swerves to avoid it, totally creeped out, but then, just a few moments later, Pihu points out the window, and there, on the side of the road, is the exact same bicycle. It's impossible. The basic rules of reality have just been snapped in two.
A few minutes later, the impossible happens again. A massive figure, wrapped in a filthy blanket, just materializes in her headlights. Anjali slams on the brakes, the car skids to a stop, and just like that, it's gone. It just vanished into the fog like it was never even there.
Anjali is trying so hard to keep it together for her kids. But then she sees it. A big, weird handprint on the passenger window. Her heart just stops cold when she realizes the print isn't on the outside, smudged by the fog. It's on the inside. And this horrifying thought hits her.
Something has already been in the car with them.
And then comes the final blow. The radio just screams to life, blasting this deafening static through the car. As they're covering their ears, a voice cuts through the noise. It's this deep, guttural sound, not human at all. And it says one chilling thing in Hindi. No one will survive this fog.
She's panicking, trying to shut off the radio, but the buttons won't work. Right at that moment, she sees the blinding headlights of a truck careening toward them out of the fog. She yanks the steering wheel hard to the side. The car flies off the road and smashes head-on into a big old tree. And then, everything just goes silent.
The crash is the end of their journey, sure, but it is not the end of the story. The things that happen that night are going to leave a permanent scar, creating a mystery that can and will never be solved.
When Anjali finally wakes up in the hospital, the police tell her what they found. There was no truck, zero evidence of any other vehicle at the crash site. As far as they're concerned, she just lost control and drove into the tree. The bicycle, the man, the handprint, the voice, the truck, it all existed only for her and her kids.
And this, right here, this is the story's real tragedy. A happy family trip gets twisted into this terrifying unsolved memory. A simple holiday vacation becomes the root of a fear that will never go away. And Anjali, once so confident and independent, is now a haunted survivor, forever changed by what she experienced in that fog.
You know, the title of the story, Anhoni, is a Hindi word that just perfectly describes what this family went through. It means an improbable, unexpected event, a calamity. It's really the only word for what happened out there on that highway. Something so impossible it feels like it just tore a hole in reality.
And that brings us right back around to where we started. The story ends with this really powerful thought. That fog wasn't just weather. It was a curtain, hiding a reality that we are not meant to see. A world full of secrets that are way beyond our understanding, waiting just on the other side of that veil.
And so the story leaves us with this really lingering, unsettling question. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What dark secrets, what anhoni might be hiding in the familiar shadows of your own world, just waiting for the fog to roll in?